What's up my G's, and welcome back to my review of the second episode of the Dragon Quest Dino Daiboken, aka The Adventures of Dai anime. Let me start off by saying that in this episode the fight scenes looked amazing. The regular animation that was used for the anime looked good, but when it came to the fight scenes, they took it to a whole nother level. From the colors and the effects that they used on the spells, to even how Dai looked when he powered up, it just looked amazing. Even the little 3D elements that they included in the last fight of the episode had me hype as hell. And usually I'm not a fan of this kind of animation, but they did a really good job with this one. So let's jump into the actual episode. We meet Princess Leona. She's there to take part in a ritual to receive the blessing from the Earth God. She's the successor of the Kingdom of Papnica, and she needs to finish the ritual on the month of her 14th birthday. We also find out that it's been 50 years since the last ritual, and people feared the island because of the monsters. But when King Romos went to Papnica Kingdom, he informed the royal family of Dai living on the island and how he was a future hero. So Leona is there to have Dai take her to the cave where she can perform the ritual so that she can get the blessing from the Earth God. While they're walking through the forest, they encounter some caterpillar monster, and Dai tells the caterpillar to move, and Leona is amazed. Dai eventually reveals that he can't use spells, and Princess Leona laughs. They finally make it to the mouth of the cave, and Baron tells the soldiers to prepare the ritual. He says he's gonna go take a look around. Princess Leona also gives Dai a knife from the Paptica royal family, and tells Dai if he can't use magic, he might as well have a decent weapon. While they're talking, we see a man with a magic tube. He's like in a silhouette behind the trees and he's spying on them. He says the spell to release a monster, and out pops the demon scorpion that starts wrecking the guards. The scorpion tries to attack Dai, but Leona jumps in front and uses a Sizz spell and hits the scorpion right in the mouth. But that only made the scorpion rage out. The scorpion stings Leona with its tail, and it tries to finish her off, but Dai comes to her rescue. He stops the scorpion's claw with his knife, and he actually injures it. Dai starts fighting the scorpion, and he's like jumping all over the scorpion, and eventually he gets to the top of a cliff. And he looks down and he looks at the scorpion, and he sees like a weak spot on its back. And he manages to stab it in the back, right in the weak spot, and the scorpion dies. Now this fight with the scorpion looked badass. There was a certain part where the scorpion was trying to use his claws to attack Dai, and Dai was dodging him. But to me it just looked awesome. The way it took its time to lift up its claws and stab him down into the ground, it just looked really good. My only complaint would be that it was too short. I was really looking forward to watching Dai fight the scorpion, and it went by way too fast. But I'm happy with what we got. Dai gets down to the ground and he realizes that the princess is poisoned. So he sends Gome-chan to go get help, and that's when Varan shows up. Dai is relieved. He tells Varan to use the Squelch spell, which is like an antidote spell. But he realizes that Varan was the one holding the magic tube. Varan laughs with an evil grin on his face, and he says that the princess must die. So he starts to charge up a spell on his hand, and he shoots it at Dai. And Dai grabs Leona and he jumps into the mouth of the cave. We switch over to Brass, who's sitting down talking with Temujin. Gome-chan arrives and he tells Brass that the princess has been poisoned. Brass quickly gets up and tries to go help her, but he's stopped by the soldiers. Temujin reveals that if Leona were to die, Papnica would be his to rule, and this was the plan all along. He wanted to have the monsters on the island kill the princess, and then he would go back and blame her death on the monsters of the island. Brass tells Gome-chan to summon all the monsters on the island, and Gome-chan flies up into the air. He shines bright like a star. All of the monsters show up, and they surround Temujin and all the soldiers on the beach. Brass gains the upper hand. Varan sees this, and he uses another magic tube. A giant metal robot falls from the sky, with Varan inside of it. It's said that it's the killing machine created by the Dark Lord to kill the hero. They somehow modified it so that it can be used by the will of a human. Varan starts attacking all the monsters, and nothing's hurting the robot. Brass even shoots a fire spell, and the robot just smacks Brass like he's nothing. We switch back to Dai and Leona in the cave. Dai realizes that Leona might die because he can't use any spells. He starts to rage out. He clenches his fist, he starts to scream up into the sky, his forehead starts to shine, and it breaks the crown that he has on his head, and an aura starts to shine around him. He looks like something straight out of Dragon Ball Z. The aura flies up into the sky and breaks right through the cave. Dai jumps out the cave, and he makes it to where Brass is on the beach. Varan is told to kill Brass, because without Brass there will be nobody to heal the princess. But Dai rages out again, and he uses a Kaswoosh spell. It's the stronger version of the wind spell, and he hits Varan with it. Then they start to fight. So the fight between Varan and Dai looked way better than the fight with the scorpion. It had 3D elements, the background was moving along with the fight, giving a sense that there was a lot of force in their movements. We got really good angles from Dai's perspective, looking up at the huge robot. The way it looked when Dai's knife hit the armor, and you could see the sparks popping out of it. The colors that they used when Dai used the spell. It just looked amazing. And this is only the second episode, and it's already looking awesome as hell. I'm hyped for the rest of this anime. Dai is attacking and getting his hits in, but nothing is scratching the armor. Eventually he hits a spot in the armor, and he pierces it. Varin notices that he's been hitting the same spot the whole fight. Afterwards, Dai is standing there with a mark on his forehead, and an aura around him, just like when he was in the cave. Varin goes in for the attack, and Dai shoots a sizzle spell, which is the stronger version of the fire spell, and it envelops the robot in fire. The fire from the spell entered the pierced hole on the robot and burned Varin inside. Varin is quickly defeated. That's it, the fight is over. After the fight, Brass quickly heals the princess, and the rest of the soldiers from the ship arrive, and they take Temujin and Varin prisoner. We then switch to Princess Leona finishing her ritual to the Earth God, and she receives his blessing. Afterwards, the princess goes back to her kingdom. We then switch to two characters on a ship leaving the city, being attacked by monsters. They reveal that the Dark Lord has returned, and they need to find a new hero, and they plan to visit him. And that's the end of the episode. This episode covered 3 chapters of the manga. The first 5 chapters of the manga were meant to be one-time short stories, but the manga received a lot of praise, so the creators decided to keep it going. It ran for more than 300 chapters, and I read about 100 of them, just to learn about the manga, just to make sure that I can enjoy the anime when it comes out. These first couple episodes did a good job of introducing Dai and what he's capable of, as well as some bits of information here and there about what's to come. I think they did a good job with these 2 episodes, keeping their first 2 stories down in 2 episodes. That way we can get into the meat and potatoes of the actual story. In the next couple of episodes, things start to roll a little bit faster, and I'm excited for what's to come. I hope you guys will continue to join me for my reviews on the Dragon Quest Dino Daiboken anime, and I'll see you next time with the next Dragon Quest video. Peace out, my G's.